Hi all, I'm Saili Kale. I'm one of the founders of GMATPoint. So in this particular video, we'll be covering the 15 most important formulae for GMAT. We'll be explaining the formula and solving one question based on the formula. So what I want all students to do is see the formula video and pause the video when the question comes. Try to solve it on your own. It is extremely important that you practice solving questions on your own. Very important to actually cracking GMAT is practicing and solving hundreds of questions. We have put up lots of free tests on GMATPoint.com. So if you take our daily target, so every single day we publish one free quant test and one free verbal test. So these tests are essentially good quality quant and verbal questions with full text solution as well as video solution. So we explain each particular topic in detail with very good quality questions as such. So if you're looking for practice for GMAT as such, please do check out GMATPoint.com and also check out our daily target.
Let us look at the first formula. This will be based on percentages. Now, the way percentage change is defined is the change divided by the initial value divided by 100. For example, if you are told that initially something is, a shirt is worth say 20 rupees. This is the initial price. Now this price changes and now the new price is say rupees 22. What would this imply? This would imply that the change in the price is rupees 2 and the initial price is 20. Therefore, the percentage change is equal to 2 divided by 20 into 100, which is equal to 10%. This is the definition of percentage change. Now, many times in questions you are asked about successive change. You are told that the initial price of an item is say rupees 100. And then the price is changed successively. Initially it was increased by 10%, then it was increased by 20%. What is the final price? Now you can do it step by step. There is nothing wrong in doing it step by step. If you are initially told that the initial price is 100 and it is increased by 10%, the change will be 100 into 10%, which is equal to rupees 10. So the new price will be the old price plus the change. So that is 100 plus 10, which is rupees 110. Now this is again increased by 20%. So again the new change, the second time the change happened, will be 110 into 20%, which is equal to rupees 22. And so the final price will be 110, which is the initial price for this change, plus 22, which is rupees 132. This can be completely done. There is nothing wrong with that. However, there is a shortcut to actually do it. If you are told that there are successive price changes of 10% and 20% from the initial price of rupees 100, you don't need to calculate the value of 110 in the middle. You can directly apply this formula. The total price change will be A plus B plus A into B divided by 100. That is, A is 10%, B is 20%. So the total or the compounded successive change will be 10 plus 20 plus 10 into 20 divided by 100. This is 10 plus 20 will be 30 plus you cancel these two. This is 2, so 32. So the percentage change will be 32%. The initial price is 100. Therefore, the final price will be 100 plus 32, which is 132, which is exactly what we got if we went step by step. If we initially calculated that it is 110 and after that we calculated that it is 132. But if you use this formula, that is, if there is a successive price change of A% and B%, the total change of this combined A% and B% change, one after the other, will be A plus B plus A into B divided by 100. Similarly, if you are told that there is a discount that is offered, successive discount of A% and B%. Suppose you are initially told that the initial price is 100 and instead of increasing, you are told that there is a discount of 10% that is given and again another discount of 10% is given. What is the final price? You can then apply this formula. You can again do it step by step. If you are told that initially it is rupees 100 and a discount of 10% is given, discount essentially means the price is decreased by 10%. Then the change again as usual will be rupees 10, similar to what we did earlier, which is 100 into 10%. So the new price, because this is a discount, this is not an increase, will be 100 minus 10, which is rupees 90. The second discount also is 10%. So now the new price or the new change will be 90 into 10%, which is rupees 9. and therefore the final price will be 90 minus 9, which is rupees 81. You can do it step by step, there is nothing wrong with that. But if you use this formula, you will get the final price directly. You don't need to calculate the intermediate price of rupees 90 in the middle, which you will get after the first discount of 10%. What this actually says is that if you are given two successive discounts of A% and B%, here the price is being decreased, then the total discount that is given is A plus B minus AB divided by 100. If they are 10 and 10, that would be 10 plus 10 minus 10 into 10 divided by 100. This is basically 20 minus 1, which is equal to 19. Initial price is 100. If the discount, final discount is 19%, the final price will be 100 minus 19, which is rupees 81. These are two simple formulas of successive increase and successive discount. You can use that to calculate the final price very easily. Let us look at a couple of questions to understand these formulas better. In this question, we are told that the number of runs scored by Rohit and Virat till the start of August is in the ratio of 3:5. So let us assume that the number of runs scored by Rohit is 3x and the number of runs scored by Virat is say 5x. The number of runs scored by them in the same order in the month of August is in the ratio 6:7. So let us assume that Rohit scored 6y runs and Virat scored 7y runs. Rohit scored 400% of the runs that is scored by him till the start of August in August. Essentially what we are told is that 6y is equal to 400% of the runs that is scored till August, which is 3x, or 6y is equal to 12x, or the value of y is equal to 2x. So the number of runs scored by Rohit in August will be 12x, which is 4 times 3x, and the number of runs scored by Virat in August will be 7y, because y is 2x, this is equal to 14x. So now the increase in the runs of Virat is 14x. He initially had 5x, now the increase is 14x. This would tell us that the percentage increase in Virat's runs will be 14x divided by 5x into 100. Change divided by the original value into 100. This you can simplify. This is 20, so this is equal to 280%. So the answer for this question is option A, which is 280%. In this question, we are told that Varun went to a mall to purchase clothes for his brother's marriage. He bought discount tokens worth rupees 1000 to avail a successive discount of 15% and 30%. Because of this transaction, Varun saved rupees 215. What is the amount spent by Varun in the mall? Let us assume that the amount of money that he came to the mall with is say rupees 100x. This is the money that Varun came to the mall with. If he did not purchase these discount coupons, he would have spent rupees 100x. But because he purchased these discount coupons, he spent rupees 1000 on them, but he got a discount, successive discount of 15% and 30%. When he is getting a successive discount of 15% and 30%, what is the total discount that he is getting? That will be 15% plus 30% minus 15, because this is discount, into 30 divided by 100. Two successive discounts of 15% and 30% will give an actual discount of 15 plus 30 minus 15 into 30 divided by 100. This is equal to 45 minus 15 into 3 is 45 by 10, 4.5. So the discount he is getting is actually 40.5%. And because we assumed that he came with 100x, the amount of money that he spent, in addition to the rupees 1000 that he spent to get the discount coupons, will be 100x minus 40.5x. This is equal to 59.5x. This is the amount of money that he actually spent. The amount of money that he actually spent is 59.5x. This is the money that he spent on purchasing his products, plus 1000 rupees that he spent on the discount coupons. This is equal to 100x, the original money that he wanted to spend, minus 250, which is the savings that he got because of this transaction. Without purchasing the discount coupons, he would have spent 100x. Because he purchased the discount coupons for 100, on the goods that he only spent 59.5x. So 59.5x plus 1000 is equal to 100x minus 250. This is the equation. Using this equation, we can get the value of x. If you simplify it, you will get that 1215 is equal to 40.5x, or the value of x is equal to 30. Therefore, the amount of money that he spent in the mall will be 59.5x plus 1000. What is the value of 59.5 into 30 plus 1000? This is equal to 59.5 into 30 will be equal to 595 into 3, which is equal to 1785. So this is 1785 plus 1000, which is equal to 2785, which is option A. Another way to look at it is, he came with 100x, x is equal to 30, so he came with 3000 rupees, and using all of these transactions he made a saving of 215. So the money that he actually spent will be 3000 minus 215, which will also equal 2785. Anyway, the answer for this question is option A, which is 2785. Let us look at the next formula. The next formula is about statistics. Suppose you are given a bunch of numbers. The numbers can be anything. They can be the height of students in a classroom. They can be the weight of students in a classroom. They can be the ages of students in a classroom or in a school, anything. If you are given a bunch of numbers, you can call this a set of numbers, you can call it a list of numbers. Suppose the numbers are a1, a2, dot, dot, dot till an. That is, there are n such numbers. Then what is the mean of these numbers? The mean is the average of these numbers. The average will be equal to the sum of these numbers divided by the number of such numbers. That is, if you are told that there are 5 people, the ages of the 5 people are 12, 12, 13, 14 and say 14. Suppose you are given 5 numbers. Now what is the total of these 5 numbers? This is 12 plus 12 is 24, 24 plus 13 is 37, 37 plus 14 is 51, 51 plus 14 is 65. So the mean will be 65 divided by 5, which is equal to 13. So the average of these numbers or the mean of these numbers is the same, and that will be the sum of these numbers divided by the number of such numbers. In this particular case, the mean is equal to 13, which is the sum of these numbers divided by 5, because there are 5 numbers. What is the median of these numbers? Median of the numbers, to calculate it, you have to arrange these numbers in ascending order. Suppose you are given 5 numbers, these numbers are already in ascending order. But suppose you are told that you are given the list of numbers are say 10, 8, 7, 15, 22 and say 19. You are given numbers which are not sorted, they are not in ascending order or in descending order. So make them in ascending order. The smallest is 7, followed by 8, followed by 10, followed by 15, then 19 and 22. How many numbers are there? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 6 is an even number. So the median of these 6 numbers will be the average of the middle 2 numbers. The middle 2 numbers are 10 and 15 after you arrange them in ascending order. So the median will be 12.5. Now suppose you are given 7 numbers. Suppose in addition to 10, 8, 7, 15, 22, 19, you are given another number which is say 50. So 50 will come at the end. Now there are 7 numbers which is an odd number. The median of these 7 numbers will be the middle number. You will have 3 to the left of the median, you will have 3 to the right of the median, and the middle number will be 15. So the median of these 7 numbers, when you include 50 also, will be equal to 15. So median is basically the middle number after the list is arranged in either ascending order or in descending order. If the number of numbers is odd, then it will be the middle number. If the number of numbers is even, then there will be 2 middle numbers and the median will be the average of those 2 numbers. Mode is also a very simple concept. Mode is the most frequent number in the list. For example, in say you are given a new list, it is say 1, 2, 5, 8, 8, 10, 10, 16 and you are given another 8. Suppose this is the list that you are given. 8 occurs 3 times. So the mode of this list is 8. These are the 3 concepts. Mean is the average. Median is the middle number after you arrange the numbers in ascending or descending order. Mode is the most frequent number. With this information, let us try to solve 1 or 2 questions so that we get more familiarized with this concept. Let us look at a question in this concept so that we understand the concept better. In this question, we are told that the average of a set of 4 distinct natural numbers is equal to 25. Let us assume that the 4 distinct natural numbers are A, B, C and D, such that A is less than, B is less than, C is less than D. Because they are distinct, we can even assume their order. The average is 25, the average of these 4 numbers. So the sum will be 25 into 4, which is equal to 100. For the value of A plus B plus C plus D is equal to 100. We are also told that the median of this set is equal to 13. What is the median of the 4 numbers A, B, C, D, such that A is less than, B is less than, C is less than D? They are ordered in ascending order. The median will be, because there are 4 numbers, the average of B and C. So B plus C divided by 2 is equal to 13, or B plus C is equal to 26. If B plus C is equal to 26, the value of A plus D will be equal to 74. Now what are we looking to do? We are looking to find out the least possible value of the highest number in the set. That is, what is the minimum value of D? We know that A plus D is equal to 74. So to minimize D, we will have to maximize A. What is the maximum value of A? We know that A plus D is 74. So can the value of A be equal to 73 or 74? This is not possible. Why is this not possible? Because A is less than, B is less than, C is less than D. If you have the 4 numbers like this, you have A over here, you have B over here, you have C over here, you have D over here. Now the average of B and C is 13. What that would imply is that 13 will lie between B and C. B has to be less than 13, C has to be greater than 13, and A has to be less than B. So if you are trying to maximize the value of A and you know that A is less than B, we will first find out what is the maximum value of B. The maximum value of B will be equal to 12, and the maximum value of A therefore will be equal to 11. In this case, the maximum value of C, because B plus C is equal to 26, the value of C will be 14, and whatever is the rest, 100 minus all of this, will be the value of D. So if A is equal to 11, the value of D will be equal to 63. So the least possible value of the highest number in the set is equal to 63, because we have A plus D is equal to 74, and the maximum value that A can take is equal to 11. If you are not understanding this, you can try to see if A can take 12. If A is equal to 12, the minimum value that B can take will be 13, and the minimum value that C can take will therefore be 14, and the average of B and C will not be equal to 13. If the average of two distinct numbers is equal to 13, one of them has to be less than 13 and one of them has to be greater than 13. Both of them cannot be greater than 13, or both of them cannot be less than 13. In that case, the average will not be 13. So once we know that the average is 13, we know that B has to be less than 13, and the maximum value it can take is 12, and therefore the maximum value that A can take is 11. Anyway, the answer for this question therefore will be equal to 63. Let us look at the next concept, which is work, time, speed and distance. Now everybody knows the formula for speed. What is the speed? Speed is the distance that you travel per unit time. That is, if somebody is traveling 100 kilometers in 2 hours, then their speed will be equal to 50 kilometers per hour. Because if he is traveling 100 kilometers in 2 hours, the distance he will travel in 1 hour will be equal to 50 kilometers. That will be the speed. So speed is distance divided by time. The average speed is the total distance that he travels divided by the total time. For example, if somebody is traveling at 50 kilometers per hour for 2 hours, if he is traveling after this, if he is traveling at 60 kilometers per hour for 3 hours, what is the total distance traveled by him? That will be 50 into 2 plus 60 into 3. And what is the total time that he has traveled? That will be 2 plus 3, which is 5. 50 into 2 is 100 plus 60 into 3 is 180 divided by 5, which is equal to 280 divided by 5, which is equal to 56 kilometers per hour. So if somebody is traveling at different speeds for different times, what we need to do is calculate the total distance that they have traveled and also calculate the total time that they have taken, divide one by the other, we will get the average speed. This is again similar, this is the same formula that we have actually used right now. If somebody is traveling at capital S kilometers per hour for t hours and small s kilometers per hour for small t hours, the total distance traveled by them will be capital S into capital T, like we have done over here, which is 50 into 2, and small s into small t, like we have done over here, which is 60 into 3. So the total distance they have traveled is 50 into 2 plus 60 into 3, which is 280 kilometers, and the total time that they have taken will be capital T plus small t, which in this particular case will be 2 plus 3, which is 5 hours. So the average speed will be total distance that they have traveled divided by the total time. In this particular case, the average speed is 56 kilometers per hour. Let us solve one question in time, speed and distance so that we understand the concept better. Here we are told that there are two friends X and Y. They are standing 600 meters apart. So let us assume that this is where both of them are standing. This is X and this is Y. The distance between both of them is 600 meters. X start moving towards Y with a speed of 3 meter per second. So X is moving towards Y at 3 meter per second. After how much time should Y start moving towards X with a speed of 7.5 meter per second so that they meet exactly at the midpoint. Let us assume that this is the midpoint. Let the midpoint be equal to A. So this distance will be 300 meters, which is the same as this distance. That is, both X and Y have to travel 300 meters to reach the midpoint where they want to meet each other. Now the time that X takes will be 300 meters, which is the distance, divided by the speed, which is 3 meters per second. So X is going to take 100 seconds. Y, if he starts at the same time as X, because he is moving at 7.5 meters per second, the time taken by Y to reach the midpoint A will be 300 divided by 7.5, which is equal to 40 seconds. Y will reach the midpoint in just 40 seconds. X will reach the midpoint in 100 seconds. So how much time should Y wait before he actually moves? That will be 100 minus 40, which is equal to 60 seconds. So Y should essentially give X a head start of 60 seconds, and he will reach the midpoint in just 40 seconds, so that both of them will reach the midpoint after 100 seconds after X starts. So Y has to essentially wait for 60 seconds. So the answer for this question is option B. Let us look at one more question so that we understand this better. In this question, we are told that during a trip, Stan traveled 30% of the distance at 40 km per hour, X% of the distance at 80 km per hour, and the rest at 60 km per hour. In terms of X, we are required to calculate the average speed for the entire trip. Let us assume that the total distance that Stan traveled is 100 kilometers. 30% of this distance would be 30 kilometers. This he traveled at 40 kilometers per hour. X% of the distance would be X kilometers. This he traveled at 80 kilometers per hour. And the rest he traveled at 60 kilometers per hour. What is the rest? That is 100 minus 30 minus X, which is equal to 70 minus X kilometers. So 70 minus X kilometers, he traveled at 60 kilometers per hour. What is the time that he took to travel 30 kilometers at 40 kilometers per hour? That will be 3 by 4. What is the time he took to travel X kilometers at 80 kilometers per hour? That will be X divided by 80. And what is the time he would take to travel 70 minus X kilometers at 60 kilometers per hour? That would be 70 minus X divided by 60. So the total time that he took to travel 100 kilometers is 3 by 4 plus X by 80 plus 70 minus X by 60. This will be 3 by 4 plus X divided by 80 plus 70 by 60 is 7 by 6 minus X by 60. 3 by 4 plus 7 by 6, the common denominator will be 12. This is 9 plus 14. X by 80 minus X by 60 is minus X by 240. Or the total time that he took will be 23 divided by 12 minus X by 240, which is equal to by 240, 460 minus X. This is the total time that he took. The total distance he traveled is 100 kilometers. So the average speed will be 100 divided by 460 minus X divided by 240, which is equal to 24,000 divided by 460 minus X. So the correct answer is option D, which is 24,000 divided by 460 minus X. Here we will be looking at the important formulas in work, time, speed and distance. This is a very important topic for GMAT. So let us look at it. We are told that if the speed of the boat is given when it is going downstream and when it is going upstream, we can calculate the speed of the boat and we can also calculate the speed of the stream. Before we look at it, let us first try to understand what is the speed of a boat downstream and what is the speed of a boat upstream. Essentially, the concept is that if the speed of the boat in a river is say B, and if the water is not moving in the river, it is going at B kilometers per hour, but the stream will either go up or it will go down. The stream will be flowing in one direction. So if the boat is also flowing in the same direction, if the boat is also traveling in the same direction, if you assume that the stream is moving at a speed of S kilometers per hour, then the speed of the boat when it is going along with the stream or when it is going downstream will be equal to B plus S, and when it is going upstream, that is when it is going against the flow of the river, it will be B minus S. So if you are given the speed of the boat downstream when it is faster and speed of the boat upstream when it is slower, if you are given these two values, you can calculate the speed of the boat and you can calculate the speed of the stream. You can easily derive it from these two equations. If you add both of them, D plus U, that is the speed of the boat downstream plus the speed of the boat upstream, is equal to 2 times B. which is twice the speed of the boat in still water. So if you divide this by 2, you will get the speed of the boat. So if you are given the speed of the boat downstream and you are given the speed of the boat upstream, you add both of them and you divide it by 2, you will get the speed of the boat. Similarly, if you subtract the second equation from the first equation, d minus u is equal to 2s, or d minus u divided by 2 is equal to s. So you find the speed of the boat downstream, you find the speed of the boat upstream, you divide one from the other, you subtract the second one from the first one and divide this by 2, you will get the speed of the stream. This is basically the formula. Similarly, you are also given a different type of question in time, speed and distance, which involves two trains. You are typically told that there are two trains which are the lengths of both the trains are given. Let us assume that they are L1 and L2. They are traveling at speeds S, capital S and small s. If they have to cross each other, if this is say one train and if this is say another train, the total distance that they have to travel is L1 plus L2. And if they are traveling in opposite directions, the relative speed will be capital S plus small s. So the time it takes for them to cross each other will be L1 plus L2 divided by capital S plus small s if they are going in opposite directions. If they are going in the same direction, this is one train and this is another train. Now the relative speed will be the difference between their speeds. So the time it will take will be capital L1 plus L2, because the distance that they have to cover is still the same. It is the sum of their lengths. But the speed, the relative speed is now the difference between their speeds, which is capital S minus small s. These are two important formulas which are often used in questions. Let us go ahead and look at some questions so that you understand this better. In this question, we are told that in 25 minutes, a boat covers 5 kilometers along the stream. Along the stream would imply that this is downstream. And in 30 minutes, it covers 2 kilometers against the stream. So this is upstream. So let us calculate the speed of the boat downstream. We'll calculate the speed of the boat upstream. And we are required to calculate the speed of the boat in still water. So we'll take the average of those two speeds. What is the speed downstream? The speed of the boat downstream, because it is traveling 5 kilometers in 25 minutes, will be 5 divided by 25 by 60, which is equal to 5 divided by 5 by 12, which is equal to 12 kilometers per hour. This is the speed of the boat downstream. What is the speed of the boat upstream? Speed of the boat upstream is, it is covering 2 kilometers in 30 minutes. So it is covering 2 kilometers in half an hour. So the speed is 4 kilometers per hour. The speed downstream is 12 kilometers per hour. The speed upstream is 4 kilometers per hour. So the speed of the boat is equal to 12 plus 4 divided by 2, which is equal to 16 by 2, which is equal to 8 kilometers per hour. Similarly, we can calculate the speed of the stream. The speed of the stream is 12 minus 4 divided by 2, which is equal to 8 divided by 2, which is 4 kilometers per hour. So what we are asked to calculate is option A. We are asked to calculate the speed of the boat, that is 8 kilometers per hour. In this question, we are told that a train of length 800 meters crosses another train B moving in the same direction in 20 seconds. We are also told later on that the length of B is the same as the length of A, which is equal to 800 meters. So if you assume that the speed of train A is S1 and the speed of train B is S2, because they are moving in the same direction, the relative speeds of A and B will be S1 minus S2. And the total distance that they have to cover to cross each other will be 800 plus 800, which is 1600. So the information that is given to us is that 1600 divided by S1 minus S2 is equal to 20 seconds. What we are asked to calculate is in how many seconds will A cross another train C moving in the same direction with the same speed as B. So it is also moving in the same direction and it is moving at S2 and the length is twice that of A. So this is 1600 meters long. So now for A to overtake C, the total distance that has to be covered is 800 plus 1600, which is 2400, divided by S1 minus S2. This is what we are asked to calculate. We know that 1600 divided by S1 minus S2 is 20. Therefore, 2400 divided by S1 minus S2 will be equal to 20 into 2400 divided by 1600. This is 3 and this is 2. This is 10. So the answer will be 30 seconds. So the correct answer is option C. Another important concept in work, time, speed and distance is related to work. Many times you are told that a man does X units of work every day. a woman will do Y units of work every day, how much time will they take to finish the job together, or something like that. Many other times you are asked that something similar is asked. M men work for H hours a day and they work for D days and they finish W work. And similarly, another small m, small h, small m men work for small h hours per day and they work for small d days. And what is the relationship between these two? Because it is difficult to actually say m, h and all multiple times. Let us assume that x men work for y hours and they worked for z days and they were able to do say w work. Similarly, a men worked for B hours, they worked for C days and they were able to do D work. Now what is the relationship between these two? Now the total number of man hours that were worked in the first case will be X into Y into Z. So X, Y, Z man hours was able to complete W work. Similarly, in the second case, the total amount of man hours is A into B into C. Because A men worked for B hours every day. So every day the man hours that was worked is A into B and they worked for C days. So the total number of man hours is A into B into C man hours. And here they are doing D work in this particular case. This would tell us that X, Y, Z divided by W should be equal to A, B, C divided by capital D. This also is asked many times. Sometimes the way the questions are phrased is 5 men working for 8 hours every day and they worked for 6 days. They were able to complete 50% of the work. In how many days will 4 men working for 3 hours every day complete the job, or something like that. This kind of a question is asked, which is simple application of the formula that we know. M into D into H divided by W will be the same. Another thing that we are told is that there are two people, like we mentioned earlier. It can be a man and a woman, or a woman and a child, or a man and a child. Sometimes these kind of things are asked, or two different people. They are told that one guy takes X days to finish the job, another guy takes Y days to finish the job. If both of them are working together, how many days will they take to finish the job? The way to understand this is that we have to look at it as the efficiency of people. If somebody is taking X days to finish a job, in one day, the amount of work that will be done by that person will be 1 by X. Similarly, if one person is taking Y days to finish the job, in one day, the amount of work done by that person will be 1 by Y. So in one day, if both of them are working together, the total fraction of the job that will be done will be 1 by X plus 1 by Y. What is 1 by X plus 1 by Y? This is equal to X plus Y divided by X into Y. So in one day, this is the fraction of work that is being done. So the number of days that they take to finish the job will be the reciprocal, which is XY divided by X plus Y. This is basically the formula that we already mentioned. That is, if one person is taking X days, another person is taking Y days. If both of them are working together, the number of days that they take to finish the job will be X into Y divided by X plus Y. Let us look at a question to understand this concept better. In this question, we are told that a work is completed by a certain number of people in a certain number of days. Let us assume that the number of men initially is N and the number of days in which the work was completed is D. So N men complete the work in D days, but if there were 16 men more, so if there were N plus 16 men, the number of days it would take is 24 days lesser. So the work would have been finished in D minus 24 days. Similarly, if there were only 8 men more, so if say there were N plus 8 men, then the work would have been completed in 16 days lesser. So it would have been completed in D minus 16 days. We are asked to essentially calculate the ratio of the number of men and the time that they took to complete the work initially. So we are essentially asked to calculate the value of N divided by D. What we know is that because N men took D days to complete the work and N plus 16 would take D minus 24 to complete the work and N plus 8 take D minus 16 to complete the work, N into D, the product, will remain the same in all the cases. So N into D is equal to N plus 16 into D minus 24, which is equal to N plus 8 into D minus 16. From this equation, what we are going to get is that N into D is equal to N into D plus 16D minus 24N minus 16 into 24, or the value of 2D minus 3N is equal to 48. This is one equation. From the second equation, where we equate N into D with N plus 8 into D minus 16, if you expand this, this will be ND plus 8D minus 16N minus 128. As this is equal to N into D, it would imply that 8D minus 16N is equal to 128. Or if you divide the entire equation with 8, D minus 2N is equal to 16. This is the second equation. We have two equations and we have two variables D and N. We can solve for them to get the value of D and N. We can first multiply the second equation with 2. So we'll get 2D minus 4N is equal to 32. 2D minus 3N is 48. 2D minus 4N is 32. So this would imply that N is equal to 16. If N is equal to 16, the value of D from any one of the equations will be equal to 48. So the ratio of N divided by D is 16 is to 48, which is equal to 1 by 3. So the correct answer is option C. In this question, we are told that Arjun and Vikram can complete a certain work in 12 days. The rate of work of Arjun is 3/4 that of Vikram. So let us assume that in one day, Vikram does 4x units of work, and in one day, Arjun will do 3x units of work. So both of them together in one day will do 7x units of work. They take 12 days to finish the job. So the total work that needs to be done is 7x into 12, which is equal to 84x. So the total work that needs to be done is 84x. Now Arjun and Biswas complete the same work together in 4 days. So if Arjun and Biswas are working, they complete 84x in 4 days, or in one day they will be doing 21x. This would imply, because Arjun does 3x work, Biswa alone would be doing 18x work in one day. So the ratio of the rate of work done by Vikram and Biswas will be equal to 4x is to 18x, which is equal to 2 is to 9. So the answer for this question is option A, which is 2 is to 9. Let us look at the next concept. The next concept is that of mixers and allegations. In mixers and allegations, let us assume that there are two items, item A and item B. Now suppose the quantity of item A is Q1 and the value is M1. The quantity of item B is Q2 and the value is M2. If they are mixed together, what is the weighted average? That is given by the formula M1 into Q1 plus M2 into Q2 divided by Q1 plus Q2. What does this mean? This means suppose you have two different types of rice. Let us assume that it is rice A and rice B. Now let us assume that the cost of rice A is say 50 rupees and the cost of rice B is say 40 rupees. What is the weighted average of the entire rice that you have? To calculate that, you also need to know how much quantity of rice 1 is there and how much quantity of rice 2 is there. Let us assume that you have 2 kgs of rice A and 1 kg of rice B. Then the weighted average of the cost, because the first one cost rupees 50 and the second one cost rupees 40, will be 50 into 2 plus 40 into 1 divided by 2 plus 1, which is 3. This is equal to 140 by 3, which is 46.66. So the weighted average of these two, of 2 kgs of rice A and 1 kg of rice B, will be 46 rupees. Let us understand this by looking at an example. In this question, we are told that there are 150 liters of milk and water. The ratio of water to milk is 4:11. So you have 150 liters. You have water, you have milk. The ratio is 4:11. This would imply that the amount of water will be 4 divided by 4 plus 11 into 150. And the amount of milk is 11 divided by 4 plus 11 into 150. So the amount of water is 40 liters. Amount of milk is 110 liters. Now some milk is added to it. Let us assume that m liters of milk is added, so that the ratio of milk to water is 7:2. So 110 plus m divided by 40 is equal to 7/2. Or the value of 110 plus m is equal to 140, or the value of m is equal to 30 liters. So the amount of milk, pure milk that is added is 30 liters. Let us look at the next concept. This concept involves profit and loss. If you have the cost price of an article that is given, if you are given the selling price of an article and you are given the market price, we can define that you are getting a profit by selling the article if the cost price is less than the selling price. if you buy an article at say X rupees and you sell it at greater than X, then you get a profit. If you buy an article for X rupees and you sell it at less than X rupees, then you will get a loss. So in this case, the value of loss is defined as cost price minus selling price. Similarly, the value of profit is defined as selling price minus cost price. And the profit percentage as well as the loss percentage is given by the same formula, which is the difference between cost price and selling price divided by the cost price into 100. Let us assume that you purchase a shirt and the cost price of the shirt is say rupees 60. This is the cost price. You purchase it at rupees 60. You sell it to somebody else. Now if the selling price is say rupees 80, the selling price is greater than the cost price. So now you are getting a profit. The profit will be 80 minus 60, which is rupees 20. And the profit percentage will be 20 divided by 60, which is the profit divided by the cost price into 100, which is equal to 33.33%. In the same way, suppose you didn't sell it at 80. You sold it at say rupees 40. Now this is less than the cost price. So now you are getting a loss. The loss is rupees 20. And the loss percentage is 20 divided by 60. Again, the loss divided by the cost price into 100. This will be again equal to 33.33%. Let us look at a question to understand this concept better. A shopkeeper sells oranges at a loss of 20% by selling them at rupees 48 per kg. So now we are told that the selling price is rupees 48 per kg. We are given the loss percentage is 20%. What is the definition of loss percentage? That is cost price minus selling price divided by cost price into 100. This is equal to 20%. So if you assume that the cost price is X, X minus 48 divided by X is equal to 0.2, that is 20%. Or X minus 48 is equal to 0.2x, or the value of 0.8x is equal to 48. So the value of X is rupees 60. So the cost price of oranges is rupees 60 per kg. Now what will be the gain or loss percentage if he sells 5 kgs for rupees 360? If he is selling 5 kgs for rupees 360, the selling price will be 360 divided by 5, which is equal to rupees 72 per kg. This is the new selling price. The cost price is 60 per kg. So the profit will be equal to selling price minus cost price, which is 72 minus 60, which is rupees 12 per kg. Therefore, the profit percentage, which is profit divided by cost price, will be 12 divided by 60 into 100, which is equal to again 20%. So it will be a gain or profit of 20%. Let us look at the next concept. In this concept, we will be discussing mark price and selling price. So when you mark a product at a particular price, you need not actually sell it at that price. You can give a discount on the mark price and then sell it. So if you assume that the mark price of an object is MP, if the discount is D, and if the selling price, that is the price at which you sell the product, is equal to SP, then the discount D is equal to mark price minus selling price. And the discount percentage is equal to the discount that is given divided by the mark price into 100. So for example, you have a book, you mark it that the book is going to be sold at say rupees 100. But there is a customer who comes and he bargains and he gets it for say rupees 70. So the discount is the difference between these two, that is rupees 30. And the discount percentage is 30, which is the discount, divided by the mark price, which is 100, into 100, which is equal to 30%. That will be the discount percentage. Let us solve one question to understand this concept better. Amit purchased a refrigerator at a discount of 10% from the vendor. Let us assume that the mark price by the vendor is equal to 100x. The discount percentage is 10%. So the selling price of vendor is equal to 90x. From the standpoint of Amit, the cost price for Amit is equal to 90x because he purchased it at 90x. Now after using it for some time, he decided to sell it to his friend Kushal, and Kushal bought it at 26.61% discount from the price marketed by Amit. We don't know the price that Amit marketed to his friend Kushal. We can assume that it is some number and then try to go forward, but let us first finish reading the question. What is the approximate price difference between the mark price by Amit and the mark price mentioned by the vendor Amit bought from? If it is given that after selling the refrigerator to Kushal at 110 rupees, so for Amit the selling price is rupees 110. The profit he made, profit percentage, is equal to 22.22%. So using this we can calculate the cost price. Cost price will be equal to 110 divided by 1 plus 22.22%, which is equal to 110 divided by 1.22222 dot dot dot. 22.22% is equal to 2 by 9. So this is simply equal to 110 divided by 1 plus 2 by 9, which is equal to rupees 90. So the cost price for Amit is rupees 90, or the value of 90x is equal to 90. So the mark price, that is the price that the vendor quoted, is rupees 100. The vendor quoted rupees 100, Amit bargained, he got a 10% discount and he bought this for rupees 90. And he sold this to his friend for rupees 110 and he made a profit of 22.22%. But what is the mark price that Amit quoted to his friend? We know that by selling it for 110, he gave a discount of 26.61%. What is 26.61%? This is equal to 26.2 by 3%, which is equal to 80 by 3%. That is the discount offered. So what is the mark price by Amit? The mark price by Amit will be equal to his selling price, which is 110, divided by 1 minus 80 by 3%, which is 80 by 300. You can simplify this. This will be equal to 110 divided by 220 into 300. You can cancel this. This is 2. Or the price that Amit quoted is rupees 150. That is the mark price Amit quoted. But he gave a discount and he sold it for rupees 110. So the difference in the mark price quoted by the vendor, which is 100, and the mark price quoted by Amit, which is 150, is equal to rupees 50. Let us now look at the next concept. This is with respect to interest. Let us look at simple interest first. If somebody borrows an amount which is called the principal, which is equal to P at an interest rate, and the interest is say I, and the rate of interest is say R%, then the interest that is accumulated on this principal, if it is a simple interest, is P into T into R divided by 100. That is, let us assume that the principal that he has borrowed is say rupees 5,000. The rate of interest is say 5%. And the time period for which this was borrowed is say 2 years. Then the simple interest that is accumulated will be 5,000 into 2 years into 5 divided by 100. We can simplify this. This will be equal to rupees 500. The principal is 5,000, the interest accumulated is 500. So the amount that has to be returned back will be equal to 5,000 plus 500, which is equal to rupees 5,500. Because amount is equal to principal plus interest. Let us look at one question so that we can understand this concept better. Rajiv borrowed 25,000 from Samir to invest in real estate. He took a loan at a simple interest of 20% per annum and he sold the real estate for 75,000 after 2 years. We are required to calculate the profit that Rajiv made if he closed the loan immediately after selling. So the principal amount for the loan is 25,000. The rate of interest R is 20% and the time period T is 2 years. So the simple interest on this loan will be 25,000 into the rate of interest, which is 20 by 100, into the time period, which is 2. You can simplify this and this is going to equal 10,000 rupees. So the total amount that he has to return will be the value of principal plus interest, which is equal to 25,000 plus 10,000, that is 35,000 rupees. But by selling this real estate, he made 75,000 rupees. So the extra money that he has, or the profit that he made from this transaction, will be 75,000 minus 35,000, which is equal to 40,000 rupees. So the answer for this question is option D. Now let us try to understand what is compound interest. Till now we have looked at simple interest, but there is also a concept of compound interest where the interest will keep on adding to the principal. So for example, if you have principal P in the first year, which accumulates an interest of I, the total amount at the end of 1 year will be P plus I. Now for the second year, this will be the principal. So the total interest will be on this as a principal. So whatever interest is being accumulated will keep on adding to the principal. So the total amount of interest that has to be paid will be greater than in simple interest. The formula for the total amount will be equal to P into 1 plus R by 100 to the power n, and the interest that has to be paid will be the difference between the amount and the principal. For example, let us assume that you have a principal of rupees 100, the rate of interest is at 10%. So the amount accumulated at the end of, or the interest accumulated at the end of 1 year will be rupees 10. So at the end of 1 year, the total amount that has to be repaid is 110. If this is not repaid, for the second year, this will be the principal. And 10% of 110 will be rupees 11. So the interest accumulated for the second year is rupees 11. Therefore, the total amount that has to be repaid at the end of 2 years will be 110 plus 11, which is rupees 121, and so on. But instead of calculating it year by year, we can use this formula and calculate the amount that is due at the end of 2 years directly. In this particular case, that will be 100 into 1 plus 10 by 100 whole square, which is equal to 100 into 1.1 whole square, which is 121. Now let us look at the next concept. Okay, in this case we are given actually a question. Let us try to answer it. Here we are told that a principal of 30,000 is taken as a loan. The rate of interest is 25%, and this has to be repaid after 3 years. So the total amount due at the end of 3 years will be 1.25 whole cube into 30,000. This is equal to 58,593.75. This is the amount that is due. But this amount is not paid by a single person. It is paid by two people. It is paid by two people in the ratio of 3:2. So let us assume that one person pays 3x and another person pays 2x. So 3x plus 2x will be the total amount that is paid, which is equal to 58,593.75. Or the value of 5x is equal to 58,593.75. Therefore, the value of x will be 11,718.75, which is actually the difference between the amount that is repaid by both of them. One guy repays 3x, another guy repays 2x. So the difference between them is x, which is equal to 11,718.75 rupees. Let us now look at the next concept. This involves compound interest, but this is not calculated yearly. The interest is compounded either half yearly or quarterly. Earlier in the examples that we looked at, we said that 100 rupees, it accumulates an interest of 10 rupees. Therefore, the principal for the second year will be 110. But here, the interest is being added back to the principal in the first case every half year. And in this case, it is added back every quarter year. So for example, if it is accumulating an interest of 10 rupees at the end of 1 year, what we are essentially saying is, after half year, 5 rupees is added back to the principal. So now the principal for the first 6 months will be 100. This accumulates 5 rupees. So the principal becomes 105. This accumulates some interest which will now be greater than 5 rupees for the second half of the year. We can calculate how much it is, and therefore the final amount that is due at the end of 1 year will be greater than 110. You can calculate it exactly, but it will be something like say 110.25. Earlier, the interest due of 10 rupees was added back to the principal at the end of 1 year. Here it is now being added after 6 months. In this case, the interest is calculated after every 3 months, and then the amount keeps on increasing every 3 months. And the formula to calculate the interest that is due and the amount that is due is not very difficult. If the interest is compounded half yearly, we will just divide the rate of interest by 2 and we will multiply the time duration by 2. If the interest is compounded every quarter, that is if it is calculated quarterly, the interest is divided by 4 and the time period is multiplied by 4. That is the formula that is needed. To understand this better, let us look at one question so that we can get a good idea about this concept. In this question, we are told that there is a venture capitalist who loaned out an amount of rupees X to a business. The rate of interest is 30% per annum, but it is compounded semi-annually. and the interest that he received on this at the end of 1 year is 1,45,125. We are asked to calculate the value of x. If the value of the loan is x and the rate of interest is 30%, but this 30% is compounded semi-annually. So you have to divide this by 2, divided by 100, and the time period is 1 year, but because this is compounded semi-annually, you multiply the time period by 2. This will be the total amount that is due. Therefore, the compound interest will be this amount minus the principal, or x into 1.15 whole square minus x will be the interest. This is equal to 1.3225x minus x, or the value of 0.3225x is equal to 1,45,125. Therefore, the value of x you can simplify will be equal to 4,50,000. So the answer for this question is option B. In this concept, we'll be looking at exponents. So if you are given the value of x to the power n and x to the power n, the product of x to the power m into x to the power n is x to the power m plus n. That is the value of 5 cube into 5 square is equal to 5 to the power 5, which is 3 plus 2. Similarly, x to the power m divided by x to the power n is equal to x to the power m minus n. That is the value of 5 cube divided by 5 square is equal to 5 to the power 1 or is equal to 5. X to the power m whole to the power n is equal to x to the power m into n. That is the value of 5 cube whole square. This is equal to 5 to the power 6, which is 3 into 2. X to the power a into y to the power a is x into y whole to the power a. That is 5 cube into 2 cube will be equal to 5 into 2, that is 10 whole cube. X to the power a divided by y to the power a is x by a to the power a. This is just an extension of this formula that we just discussed. X to the power minus m is 1 by x to the power m. That is 5 to the power minus 3 is equal to 1 by 5 to the power 3. X by y to the power minus m is y by x to the power m. This is again just an extension of the formula that we have just seen. Square root of x to the power a is equal to x to the power a by 2. That is, if you are given the square root of 5 to the power 4, that will be equal to 5 square, because 2 is 4 divided by 2. The mth power of x can be represented as x to the power 1 by m. Similarly, the value of the nth power of x to the power m is equal to the nth power of x to the power m, which is equal to x to the power 5 by n. That is, if you are asked to calculate the cubed root of 5 to the power 6, this is equal to 5 to the power 6 by 3, which is equal to 5 square. Similarly, the last question is that if x to the power a is equal to x to the power b, it would imply that a is equal to b whenever x is not equal to 1. When x is not equal to 1, x to the power a is equal to x to the power b would imply that a is equal to b. Let us look at the next question. In this question, we are told that 25 to the power 3a plus 5 plus 125 to the power 2a plus 3 is equal to 18750. We are asked to calculate the value of a. 25 is equal to 5 square and 125 is equal to 5 cube. So the question we have can be simplified, this equation. 25 to the power 3a plus 5 is equal to 5 square to the power 3a plus 5, which is equal to 5 to the power 6a plus 10. Similarly, 125 to the power 2a plus 3, because 125 is 5 cube, can be simplified to equal 5 cube to the power 2a plus 3, which is equal to 5 to the power 6a plus 9. So the equation we have is simply equal to 5 to the power 6a plus 10 plus 5 to the power 6a plus 9 is equal to 18750. Now what is the relationship between 5 to the power 6a plus 10 and 5 to the power 6a plus 9? 5 to the power 6a plus 10 is equal to 5 times 5 to the power 6a plus 9. So if you assume that 5 to the power 6a plus 9 is equal to p, this is basically 5p. This is p. So 5p plus p is equal to 18750, or the value of 6p is equal to 18750, or the value of p is equal to 3125. 3125 is equal to 5 to the power 5. So 5 to the power 6a plus 9 is equal to 5 to the power 5. Like we just discussed, this would imply that 6a plus 9 has to equal 5. Or the value of 6a is equal to minus 4, or the value of a is equal to minus 2 by 3. So the answer for this question is option B. Let us look at the next concept, which involves coordinate geometry. In this concept, if you are given 2 points, x1, y1 and x2, y2, the distance between them is given by the formula square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. That is, if you are given a point which is say 1, 8, and if you are given another point which is say 4, 4. What is the distance between these 2 points? The distance will be equal to square root of 1 minus 4 whole square, which is minus 3 whole square, plus 8 minus 4 whole square, which is 4 square. This is equal to square root of what is minus 3 whole square, that is 9, plus what is 4 square, that is 16. So this is equal to square root of 25, which is equal to 5 units. So the distance between these 2 points, 1, 8 and 4, 4 can be calculated like this. What is the slope of the line? If you are given 2 points, the slope of the line is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. In this particular case, if you are given 1, 8 and 4, 4, the slope of this line is 8 minus 4 divided by 1 minus 4, which is equal to minus 4 by 3. This is the slope of this line. And if you are given 2 lines, if the slope of both the lines are the same, then those lines are parallel. And if the slopes of the 2 lines, if you multiply them, if the product is equal to minus 1, then the lines are perpendicular. That is, if you are told that there is one line, the slope of this line is 3, and there is another line which is perpendicular to it, what is the slope of this line? The slope of this line will be minus 1 by 3. Because the product of 3 and minus 1 by 3 has to equal minus 1. To understand this concept, let us look at a question. In this question, we are told that there are 2 lines, L1 and L2, they intersect at a right angle. So let us assume that this is L1 and let us assume that this is L2. They intersect at the point 3, minus 2. So they intersect over here. And L2 and L3 intersect at a point 5, minus 3. We don't know whether they intersect at right angles or not. So let us assume that this is L3 and the point at which they intersect is 5, minus 3. What is the equation of the line L1? This is what we want. Now, how can we calculate the equation of the line L1? We already know that it passes through a point 3, minus 2. If we can figure out the slope of the line L1, then we can easily calculate the equation of the line L1. But what is the information that we have? We have the information that L1 is perpendicular to L2. And we can calculate the slope of L2 because we know that L2 passes through the point 5, minus 3 as well as the point 3, minus 2. So the slope of the line L2 will be equal to the difference of the y coordinates divided by the difference of the x coordinates, which is minus 3 minus of minus 2 divided by 5 minus 3, which is equal to minus 1 by 2. This is the slope of the line L2. Now L2 and L1 are perpendicular to each other. So the product of their slopes will be equal to minus 1. So if you assume that the slope of the line L1 is m into minus 1 by 2, which is the slope of L2, is equal to minus 1. Or the slope of the line L1 is equal to 2. So this line, the slope is 2. We know that the equation of a line is y is equal to mx plus c, where m is the slope of the line and c is some constant. So the equation of the line L1 will be of the form y is equal to 2x plus c. But what is the value of c? How can we calculate the value of c? We can calculate the value of c because we know that it passes through the point 3, minus 2. So if you substitute the value of y to be equal to minus 2 in this equation, minus 2 is equal to 2 times x, which is 3, plus a constant c, or minus 2 is equal to 6 plus c, or the value of c is equal to minus 8. Therefore, the equation of the line L1 will be y is equal to 2x plus c, but c is minus 8, so 2x minus 8. This is the equation of the line L1, which is option D. With this, all the formulas and the important questions for GMAT have been completed. I want to again reiterate that we are offering a very good, very useful course for GMAT. It is completely free for students. So if you are looking for a daily test in GMAT, definitely do take part in the GMAT daily targets. In GMAT daily target, we give one test in quant and one test in verbal completely for free. and all the questions in those tests have detailed video solutions. These GMAT daily targets are taken by hundreds of students every single day, and the link to take these GMAT daily targets are given in the description of this video. If you have any doubts with respect to any of the formulas in this video or any of the questions that I solved, you can always comment below the video, and I look at every comment and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. All the best for your examination.